Hey there guys, TheRamosOnline here. I'm bringing you a quick video about the tier shifts happening in May. This is pretty much put in place from today, from the 1st of May, but we just got the report today. It's going to be the Smogon tier shifts. Basically, Pokemon don't always stay in the tier that they are assigned to because usage changes. So, yeah. I probably said something there. I'm kind of ill right now, so beg your pardon if I cough, sneeze, or snivel. I want to make it clear before we move on, after I do a little snivel, Smogon's tiers are based on usage. To people who don't know, there's a lot of people out there who don't know this. Smogon's tiers are based on usage. It's not a single guy or a team of guys going, that Pokemon goes here, that Pokemon goes there. It is their usage. So it's overused because people are using it a lot. It's underused because not as many people are using it. It's rarely used because even fewer people use it, and so on. That's why it can give the illusion of strong things being OU, but that's not necessarily true. Just to give an example, Wobbuffet fell from Ubers to like PU, albeit because its ability can't be used in anything other than OU, so once it went down to UU, no one touched it. I think Quagsire hopped around from like NU to OU and then back down. So yeah. The Borderlines and Uber / anything goes tier is the only section of Smogon that is based on power. Basically, if a Pokemon is too strong for its given tier, it is put into the borderline, so its usage makes it one tier, but it's too strong there, so it goes into the borderline, which is basically the ban list. So, without further ado, with that out of the way, let's dive into the first changes, which aren't that interesting. It's also moving to OU. We've got Tornadus Therian form. It has the Regenerator ability, and can hit pretty hard with a Hurricane, commonly used in rain teams, just to give its Hurricane perfect accuracy, and it has Regenerator. So, Regenerator and Assault Vest, and suddenly you've got a very hard to take down attacker that can just keep U-turning back out once it's in danger. Then we have Hippowdon, which fills the role of a physical Sandstream Pokemon, a physically defensive Sandstream Pokemon with recovery in Slack Off. Tyranitar could fill the role of a bulky Sandstream Pokemon. The only problem was it had no recovery outside of leftovers and was pretty much relegated to being a rock setter and Aurora if used defensively. So kind of not surprised to see Hippowdon. I actually thought Hippowdon was OU for the longest time, but it wasn't. It was UU. So that's now gone up to OU. Oh yeah, and Tornadus went up from Borderline to OU. So yeah. Last but not least, we have Alakazam. Honestly, kind of surprised this didn't happen the moment Mega Gengar got banned, because it is essentially a Psychic type Mega Gengar. Very fast, very high base special attack, or yeah, the base special attack. Has the Trace ability, so if you can Mega Evolve on the correct thing, you become unstoppable. It's very scary, very hard to deal with, although very weak to priority because it has no defenses to speak of. So that's about it for the OU tier, not really much to speak about, but the most fun, I believe, happens in UU, so... Whoa! Whoa! Look at it! It's Gallade! The Mega Gallade! Yep, Mega Gallade has moved down from OU to UU. I believe this change is absolutely fine. I did not believe Gallade was OU strength to begin with, mainly because while it does have a base speed of 110 and a pretty scary physical attack stat, and is also quite bulky, it does have a low HP stat, which does affect its bulk, and an ability which doesn't really help it in most situations. Its ability is very good. It deters fake out users, it prevents you from being flinched, it's a very good ability, but not as good in singles, so I'm not surprised to see it go down to UU. What I am surprised to see go down is Mandibuzz, one of the most annoying walls in the game, with Taunt, Roost, Toxic, give it a Rocky Helmet, it is a nightmare to deal with. You know, what abilities does it get? It gets Overcoat, so you can't put it to sleep. It's not damaged by hazards, it's just a really annoying wall. It's been OU for so long. I can't imagine why its usage went down. I'd have to look at the usage stats, but yeah, Mandibuzz is now UU. Also joining us from the OU tier back down to the UU tier is Mamoswine. I mean, I was actually thinking the other day, I've never seen a Mamoswine in an OU team in recent months, and it is now going down to UU, so that might be the reason why. Sorry, I'm umming and erring a lot, I do apologize, but, Mamoswine, very, very, scary attacker. He's got stab Earthquake, stab Ice Cream Crash, he's got Ice Shard for priority, so it's basically like a Dragon Slayer, kind of, even though most dragons have Intimidate in OU. By most, I mean Salamence, which isn't OU, so forget what I'm saying. But yeah, that's now going to be a threat to deal with in UU. Do I think it's okay in UU? I actually think it is going to be okay in UU. Mainly because it's not that fast, it's weak to a lot of things, and really, it's not as strong as other things are in UU. Now, surprise that Heliolisk is also going to be moving up to UU. It was NU, and I loved it in NU. It was actually one of my main Pokemon in NU, and then it got put into RU, and now it's going to UU. So, Greninja 2.0, ladies and gentlemen. This thing is very versatile, can carry quite a lot of moves. Hyper Voice, Dark Pulse, Thunderbolt, Volt Switch, Thunder in a rain team if you want it. You can put it in a rain team, it gets Dry Skin. Surf, Grass Knot. It's a pretty scary Pokemon to deal with. It's not as strong, base 109 in both the speed and special attack stat, I think. Or am I thinking of, am I thinking of the Lion? I can't remember. But it's pretty scary to deal with at least. Do I think it's good in UU? Time will tell. I mean, its usage puts it in UU, so I guess it must be kind of decent. Duo Blade is also moving up from RU to UU along with Heliolisk. And also, Dragalge is going to be joining them as well. Duo Blade, I don't really know. I mean, I used to use it in RU. I kept forgetting to bring it, and now it's going to be UU, so I can't bring it to RU battles anymore, which is a pain, but hey-ho. I'm just trying to think, what does it bring to UU? It's a very, very scary physical wall. It can be used as a Swords Dance Shadow Sneak Sweeper. It's pretty much like a Aegislash, constantly in defensive form with a very good physical attack stat to boot. It doesn't have much bulk on the special side, which is probably why it's not going to be OU anytime soon, but now that I think about it, yeah, it's like an Aegislash constantly in shield form with a base attack stat that is actually decent. And Dragalge, adaptability specs. Moving on, Whimsicott is also going to be joining them from the RU tier, moving up to UU. I can't comment on Whimsicott. I use it a lot in RU, and I've never viewed it as something worthy of anything higher than that tier. In fact, at times, I view it lower. But maybe other people are using it different from me. I use it as an attacker with Nature Power, which is a priority move because Nature Power is a status move that turns into Tri-Attack upon use, so it is actually priority, which is great for outspeeding things that I've managed to set up to plus whatever and a low health. Also moving from RU to UU is Slurpuff, Belly Drum, Unburden, Citrus Berry, and now it can just play her off and Drain Punch everything. Do I think it's going to be okay in UU? Yes. That thing is a nightmare. It haunts my dreams. Honestly, I think Duo Blade might have moved up just to deal with Slurpuff. Not really, obviously, because it doesn't work that way. I just said that at the beginning of the video, but whatever. I believe Slowking was also rarely used. It is now moving up to UU. Regenerator, Pokemon, specially defensive. Not much else to say. Cresselia! Excuse my French, children, but Moon Duck Cunt is finally leaving RU. Big on, foul beasts! Beast, singular. There's only one Cresselia, even though there's multiple. That thing is a nightmare in the RU tier. I'm so glad to see that thing is gone. How? How did it go to RU and then just stay in RU? I'm sorry. I'm going to be a bit salty at this. But seeing Wall Breakers get relegated to the borderlines, but walls like Cresselia are just ignored. They're left there. That's what promotes stall and wall teams. Because wall breakers get banned because they're too good at wall breaking, but walls never get banned for being too good at walling. I don't think there is a single wall in any of the borderlines. So, take from that what you will. But finally, Moonduck Cunt is leaving Rarely Used. Also, leaving RU to be promoted to UU is a Bomber Snow, and it's Mega. Now, I'm kind of surprised to see that just because of how slow it is. It is a hard-hitting Pokemon, but it's slow. It does get priority, but it's physical. And if you want to be taking advantage of the weather it sets up, you're going to want to be special so you can use Blizzard. Although you can be mixed with Blizzard, but you know, each to their own. I guess it can be scary in a Trick Room team, but I don't really know how common Trick Room teams are. On the stream, I haven't really faced many single Trick Room teams, just because they are kind of hard to use and set up. So, yeah, that is everything moving to UU. UU is definitely going to be an interesting tier for the coming weeks. We may see a few of these faces be stuffed into the borderline, which would be very unfortunate. Out of anything here, the only thing I can see that would probably go borderline would be Mega Gallade and Cresselia. But we all know that Cresselia will never go borderline because, yeah. Moving on to things moving to the RU tier, the Rarely Used tier. We have some interesting faces moving here. We've got Scrafty moving down from UU to RU, the fighting Dark-type Pokemon. Perhaps its usage was affected by the Fairy types that are running around in UU, like Florges, or Florges, I should say. I still need to figure out how to pronounce that name. Florges, Florges, Florges. I don't know. The anime didn't help, because it said it in a Japanese accent, and it didn't help. But yeah. Fairies causes some trouble, other fighting types cause it trouble. Is it going to stay in RU? I think so. The only thing it's really scary at doing is setting up Dragon Dance, and even then, it's so slow to begin with that it needs a couple Dragon Dances to outspeed anything, and is pretty much easily scared out by anything that is faster than it and can hit it with super effective damage. Also moving to RU. Now this was surprising. Going from UU to RU, was it? Let me just double check. Kingdra moving from UU to RU, yes it is. The main special attacker in the rain, I know we have Ludicolo, which is NU, but really, this thing is a nightmare with Swim. More so in doubles, but it can still be a nightmare in singles. It's a very fast, swift swimmer with decent stats. You don't want to catch this thing in the rain because its Hydro Pump will wreck your face. Moving down to RU. Will that affect the RU tier very much? I don't think so, unless you have like a, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it'll affect it too much, but it's interesting to see it go down. The most interesting of them all to go down, however, is Flygon. It's basically, you know, Garchomp before we had Garchomp, a ground type with, you know, pretty decent stats. So I'm very surprised to see that Flygon's gone down. Very happy as well, because now I can stick my Flygon in my RU team. I'm going to be very happy about that. But yeah, nothing so far I think is going to go borderline. Or borderline 2, I believe it is, down here at RU. So very interesting to see Flygon go down. The other Pokemon that's pretty interesting to see go up, is Sigalith, going from borderline 3 to RU. The reason I think it's interesting is because it was the only wall in a borderline, which is why I just challenged you guys to try and find me a wall in borderline. The only reason it was in borderline was because of the ability to take no damage from burn, toxic, that sort of thing, with its Magic Guard, was it? Magic Guard? And it also has Psycho Shift, which puts its status effect on you, allowing this thing to essentially have a 100% accurate Will-O-Wisp at all times. Can then set up with Cosmic Power to boost both defensive stats, and then smack you with a powerful Stored Power. That's what, Stored Power. The only thing you can really use to kill this thing is a Dark type, and you're gonna get burned and then stalled to death. So once it manages to get up a couple Cosmic Powers, you basically lose to this thing. Do I think it's suitable in RU? No. I think it should go into Borderline 2 just because of how annoying it can be. If you give it a single turn, this thing will destroy you. It's very hard to deal with. You need a taunter. You basically need the ideal wall counter, the ideal anti-wall to deal with it. So yeah, it might stay RU though. Maybe RU threats can deal with Sigalith. Moving on from that is what I'm very sad to see going up to RU from Borderline 3 is Camerupt and its Mega Camerupt. Of course, its Mega would be Mega Camerupt, it wouldn't be any other Mega now, would it? This thing was NU, I loved it in NU. It was very slow, which is why it was NU, and was practically destroyed by things like Heliolisk. It couldn't switch in on a predicted Thunderbolt because Surf. It couldn't stay in because, well, Surf. So it was kind of a thing that, yeah, and once Heliolisk got removed from NU, Camerupt just kind of became harder to deal with. I'm trying to think of words, my brain isn't working, this is brilliant. It was kind of sad to see it go to Borderline 3 just because of how used to it I was. It was my main Mega in NU, so I'm kind of sad to see it go up to RU. Although I do think RU makes sense for it just because of how hard it hits. Even without investment, I use mine as a special wall with rocks, roar, that kind of thing, and it hit as hard as a attacker with sheer force boosted flamethrower and earth power. It was scary, so that makes sense. Moving down from UU to RU, we have Noivern. I don't really know what to say about Noivern. I did not think it was UU. It's definitely not UU power in my eyes, but enough people use it to get it there, and now few people use it, so it's gone down to rarely used. I think it'll be fine there. I don't think it's broken at all. It's, you know, it's a fast specs attacker normally. It normally carries Trick, I believe, or Switcheroo, with Draco Meteor, maybe Hurricane or Air Slash, and Boom Burst, I think is what it tends to carry. Some of them carry Flamethrower or Fire Blast, or Dragon Pulse, you know, for more accuracy. So it'll be interesting to see how it works down in RU, and I mean, honestly, I would not be surprised to see it go to NU, eventually. Last but not least, moving up from NU to RU is Seismitoad. It's a Swift Swim Pokemon, so I can imagine why it went up, because rain is still one of the most powerful weather conditions. Very good at being an annoying wall to deal with. Gets Drain Punch if you want to go to the physical side. Come in a pretty scary mixed set. I believe Swift Swim is the main ability used on it though. I'm trying to think of the other abilities it gets, but I can't think off the top of my head. I'll probably Google it really quickly. Or get it up on Smogon. Seismitoad. Seismitoad has Poison Touch and Water Absorb. There we go. It's a Water Absorb Pokemon. That might explain why it went up. Just because Pokemon that tend to have a complete immunity don't stay in their tier. Typhlosion went up to Borderline 3. Seismitoad's now going up to RU, so it does make sense. It gets Water Absorb and Swift Swim, making it a very decent Pokemon in general. I think it will help calm things down in RU a little bit, especially with Kingdra being moved down. Good lord. It should hopefully be able to stop Kingdra. It should be able to tank its Dragon Pulses quite well. So we'll see what happens. Last but not least, we have things moving into NU. We have Haunter moving from PU to NU, which is slightly annoying, because I built a PU team with a Haunter, so now can't use that. Haunter is, you know, Gengar Jr. It's quite fast, still has a very decent special attack stat. I actually run Modest Scarfed on my one. Very, very fast and hits surprisingly hard for a mid-stage evolution. Moving down from RU is Fletchinder. Great, so now we're going to have to deal with Swords Dance, Acrobatics, Shenanigans from Fletchinder and NU. Honestly, I think it might go Borderline 3. Now, I don't want it to, because I would like to breed one. Although, I do understand why it would go Borderline 3, because it has that priority stab 110 Acrobatics. These things tend to run no item with Swords Dance, Roost, Acrobatics, and U-Turn. That tends to be their moveset. Surprised, honestly. Very, very surprised to see it go down to NU. Did not ever think that would happen, but hey ho. Also coming down to NU from the RU tier is Magneton. Kind of happy with that because I always thought Magneton was NU, but it wasn't. So I could never use it in my NU team, but now I can! Yay! Magneton is a pretty decent mid-stage evolution as well. It's Magnezone Jr. Very, very high special attack stat. Is actually faster than its evolved form, so you can give it a scarf and watch it outspeed things that its evolved form couldn't. It's a pretty decent Pokemon. Remember, it did used to be the final stage of evolution for Magnemite, so it does have pretty decent stats. Moving from, I believe, Borderline 4, which was the PU Borderline, is Tauros. Coming up, down, left, right, side to side, spin around, yay! Coming up from the Borderline 4, it gets Sheer Force. That's the only thing I can think. It's not going to change the metagame at all. In fact, I think it won't be used that much in NU. Maybe it will. Maybe it will. I mean, it gets Sheer Force, and most things that get Sheer Force are quite, used a bit. The main problem with it is it doesn't have many good moves to use with Sheer Force. I believe Return does the same damage as Rock Climb does after the Sheer Force boost. So, yeah. Also moving down from the RU tier, I believe it moved down from the RU tier, let me double check, we have Kabutops. Yep, it moved from RU to NU. One of the scary Swift Swimmers, so I'm surprised to see it move down. Swords Dance, Aqua Jet, Stone Edge, and Waterfall tends to be this thing's lineup with, I think, Protect. No, I mentioned 4 moves, didn't I? Yeah, I mentioned 4 moves. I'm being dumb. I'm ill. I have an excuse. Kind of surprised to see it move down. Also gets Rapid Spin. Then again, I don't think it will mess up the NU metagame at all. It is definitely a fast, scary attacker to deal with, especially in the rain, but I feel it can be dealt with. Also moving down from RU is Pinsir. Where's Mega Pinsir, you ask? Borderline. Mega Pinsir's Borderline. So, if you was hoping to use Mega Pinsir in NU, I'm sorry, you can't. It's still Borderline. But Pinsir itself has moved down to NU. Kind of surprising, really. Pinsir does get the Moxie ability, if I am not mistaken. It also gets Mold Breaker. Let me double check. Pinsir. I said, yeah, Pinsir. Yep, it gets Hypercutter, Moxie, and Mold Breaker. So Moxie essentially makes it, also gets Close Combat. It is basically Heracross Jr. or a weaker version of Heracross with Moxie. So you can Scarf this thing. It's got a pretty decent base speed of 70 and a base attack of 125. So yeah, you can stick a Scarf on this thing and watch it wreck hosts. I've gone Canadian now, guys. Gets pretty. I don't think it gets Mega Horn though. That's one thing it probably doesn't get. But still, Moxie. This thing is scary. Or he gets Mold Breaker and does get access to Earthquake. So Mold Breaker, Earthquake, anyone? Not sure how much use it will be in NU, but definitely going to be interesting to see. I might have to breed one to try it out. Last but not least, moving up from the PU tier, we have Prinplup, a defogging rock setter. I think Prinplup gets Stealth Rocks. I know its evolved form does, but maybe Prinplup doesn't. Either way, it gets Defog, and it's a pretty bulky Pokemon. So, not surprised to see it move up. I didn't think it was a problem in PU, but again, it's not about strength, it's usage. So I guess enough people are using it to get it into NU. So it's definitely going to stay there for a while, I think. So that's pretty much my views on all the changes. Yes, that is it. There is nothing moving down to PU. Everything just kind of cut off at the NU part. So let me know in the description below what you guys think about the tier shifts. I'd like to hear your opinions. And yeah, links in the description below to the thread announcing the changes. Also in the description below is a link to my Twitch and Twitter. If you could follow both of them, I would appreciate it. I do viewer battles every weekday, so feel free to pop down the stream and we can do a viewer battle. Yay! Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed my rambling at the tier shifts, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!